Out of everything you could have done today, you paused here, as if your soul recognized a frequency it had been searching for through the static of the world. There is a timing to this encounter you may not have noticed yet, something unfolding beneath the surface of your daily movements that has finally brought us to this high ground. You may have been feeling a subtle pull you couldn't quite explain, a sense that the narrative of your life was beginning to shift even while you were busy keeping up with the demands of the day. Stay with this moment for just a little while longer, and don't rush past this space, because there is an unfolding happening here that requires your gentle presence to fully take root. Imagine yourself now, my child, standing at the very apex of a mountain where the clouds are beneath your feet and the sky above is a deep, endless violet. This is the place of reflection I have prepared for you, far above the frantic chaos of the valleys where voices overlap and time feels like a thief. You are reaching the Golden Gate, a threshold made of light and intention. And as you stand here, you may be noticing how the frantic racing of your heart is finally beginning to find a steady, rhythmic peace. There is something about this elevation that changes the way truth reaches you, and in a moment, the reason for this journey will become even clearer. My heir, I have something to tell you that the world would have you forget, a truth that has been waiting for your ears since the stars were first named. Your ancient debt has been erased, wiped clean from the ledgers of time, and the weights you have been carrying are no longer yours to bear. You may have felt this before, the phantom sensation of a burden that wasn't truly there, as if you were still paying for mistakes you no longer remember or ghosts that no longer exist. There's something about this release that connects to a much deeper part of your purpose, and as we walk closer to the gate, you may sense the old stagnation finally beginning to dissolve. You might be noticing a strange resistance as you contemplate this freedom, a lingering whisper from the past ghosts that try to keep you in a state of spiritual stagnation. These are not your enemies, but merely shadows of a version of yourself that you have outgrown, yet they still try to pull at your hem. You may have felt this before, that sudden hesitation when everything is going well, as if you are waiting for the other shoe to drop or for the chaos to return. Stay with this stillness, my chosen, because there is a reason you are hearing this now, and it involves a transformation that is as powerful as it is quiet. Within your heart, there is a seed that has been waiting for this specific atmosphere to bloom into something magnificent. It is a lotus of lightning, a symbol of your power that combines the grounded beauty of the earth with the raw, electric energy of the heavens. You may be noticing this now, a warmth in your chest or a clarity in your vision that wasn't there when you first arrived at this threshold. This blooming is not a loud event, but a subtle shift in your mindfulness that begins to alter every path laid out before you. If something within you resonates with this image, you may already understand why you're here at the peak of this silent mountain. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, the one who carries the light when the corridors of life grow dark and the map seems to vanish. This identity is not a burden, but a grace, and it is the reason why the Golden Gate has remained open for your arrival. There's something about this role that you are only just beginning to remember, a flicker of awareness that says you were always meant for more than just survival. As you move closer to the entrance of this new dimension, the confusion of your past starts to fade, replaced by a direction that is etched in light upon your very soul. My beloved, look back for just a moment at the trail you climbed to get here, and notice how the frantic chaos of your previous chapters looks so small from this height. Those moments where you felt lost or overwhelmed were merely the climb required to reach the clarity of this peak. You may be noticing that the air up here doesn't just fill your lungs. It clears your mind of the cobwebs spun by those past ghosts of stagnation. There is a specific lesson in the way the wind moves up here, a lesson that connects to how you will handle the days that follow this realization. Stay with this feeling of absolute stillness, for it is the foundation upon which your new destiny is being built. You may have sensed this before, a quiet knowing that you were standing on the edge of a breakthrough, even when your outer circumstances seemed to be standing still. This stagnation was never meant to be your permanent state. It was a cocoon, a necessary pause to ensure you had the strength to face the magnitude of what is coming. Not everything is clear yet, and that is by design. as the mystery of your unfolding journey is what keeps your spirit sharp and your heart open. There is something about this golden gate that acts as a filter, allowing only your truest self to pass through while leaving the heavy baggage of your debts behind. My chosen. As you stand at this midnight threshold of the soul, consider how often you have traded your peace for the approval of those who could never see your light. Those days are over, as the erasing of your ancient debt means you no longer owe anyone a version of yourself that is less than whole. You might be noticing that your thoughts are becoming quieter, no longer echoing with the criticisms of the past or the anxieties of the future. This is the subtle mindfulness I spoke of, the ability to stand in the center of your own life and choose your next step with total intention. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this frequency. As the lotus of lightning begins to unfurl its petals within your awareness, you will start to see the world not as a series of obstacles, but as a map of opportunities. Every person you meet and every challenge you face will be seen through the lens of this high mountain perspective. You are not here randomly, and the fact that you can hear these words and feel their weight is proof that your spirit is ready for this expansion. There is something about the way the light is hitting the golden gate right now that suggests the time for waiting has come to a close. Let this awareness sink deep into your bones, for it is the key that turns the lock on your future. You may be noticing a gentle heat radiating from the gate, a warmth that feels like a homecoming for a traveler who has been away for far too long. This is the reward for your persistence, for the times you kept walking even when the mountain path was obscured by fog and doubt. My heir. The ghosts that once whispered of your inadequacy are being silenced by the sheer brilliance of the flame you carry. You are becoming exactly who you were designed to be, and the path ahead is being cleared of all that would seek to stagnate your growth. Take a deep breath of this mountain air and realize that you have already arrived. In a moment, the gate will begin to move, responding to the frequency of your stillness rather than the effort of your hands. This is the secret of the higher realms, where things are achieved not through frantic striving, but through the alignment of your inner world with the divine flow. You may have felt this before in small bursts, those times when life seemed to work in your favor without you having to fight for it. That was just a preview of the state of being you are entering now, a life governed by the grace of the eternal flame. Stay with this moment, for there is a final layer of understanding that must be integrated before you step through. You may be noticing that even the memories of your struggles are changing, losing their sharp edges and becoming part of the beautiful tapestry of your wisdom. The debt was never yours to pay with suffering. It was a misunderstanding of your own divinity that kept you bound to those old contracts. Now that the seal has been broken, you are free to walk into the golden light with your head held high and your heart unburdened. This shift alone changes everything, from the way you speak to the way you dream. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in this sacred stillness. My child, the lotus of lightning is now fully open, illuminating the path that lies beyond the threshold of this mountain apex. You are the traveler who has finally reached the gate, and the watcher who has been waiting for you is none other than the highest version of yourself. There is something about this reunion that will redefine your entire sense of identity, anchoring you in a peace that the world cannot disturb. The frantic chaos is gone, replaced by a stillness so profound, it feels like the heartbeat of the universe itself. Walk forward now with the quiet confidence of one who knows they are loved beyond measure and guided beyond doubt. Something about this moment brought you here, a quiet orchestration that your mind might try to dismiss as a simple coincidence. This moment may not be as ordinary as it seems, for there is a timing to your arrival that predates your awareness of this very space. You may have sensed this before, a subtle weight you couldn't quite name, like a lingering shadow from a door you thought you had closed long ago. Just give this a little space to breathe, and let this unfold for a second, because what is about to be revealed is meant specifically for the heart that has grown tired of waiting for a sign. As you step away from the edge of the mountain's peak and into the still inner chamber that sits at its crown, you may notice how the air changes. It is no longer thin and biting, but warm and saturated, with a silence that feels like a physical embrace. This is a place of absolute stillness, a sanctuary designed for the soul that has survived the frantic chaos of 1,000 different storms. My child, you are not here randomly. And as you look around at the walls made of living crystal, you may be noticing how the light seems to bend toward your presence. There is something about this chamber that holds the key to your next transition, and in a moment, the heaviness you've carried will begin to make sense. My beloved, you have been moving through your days with a sense of heaviness, a feeling that your progress was being hindered by unseen hands. You may have felt this before, the sensation of walking through deep water, even when the path ahead looked clear and dry. This is the stagnation born of past ghosts, those old echoes of who you were and what you suffered that still try to claim a seat at the table of your future. They are not entities of malice, but fragments of unhealed memories that have created a psychic friction in your life. Stay with this realization for a moment, for identifying the source of the drag is the first step toward releasing the anchor. In the center of this chamber rests a glowing book, its pages shimmering with a light that seems to pulse in time with your own heartbeat. This is the volume of your unspoken promises, and it contains the blueprints of a destiny that has been waiting for your mindfulness to activate it. You may be noticing this now, a strange sense of familiarity with a book you've never seen, as if your spirit recognizes its own handwriting on the cover. This connects to something much deeper than your current circumstances, reaching back into the origin of your journey. There is a reason you are being shown this hidden archive now, and it has everything to do with the flame you carry. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, the one entrusted with the spark that can turn even the darkest night into a dawn of possibility. My chosen, this identity is your true north, the internal compass that has guided you even when you felt most directionless in the valleys below. You may have felt a flicker of this power during moments of deep crisis, a sudden strength that didn't seem to come from your muscles, but from a reservoir of divine light. This flame is what the past ghosts fear most, for it is the only thing that can dissolve the shadows of stagnation. If something within you resonates with this calling, you may already understand why the path has been so narrow and the climb so steep. Consider the real-life moments where you felt yourself slipping back into old patterns, even when you knew they no longer served your peace. Perhaps it was a conversation that triggered a familiar defensive posture, or a setback that made you want to hide away from the world's gaze. These are the subtle tests where your mindfulness can alter the very fabric of your destiny's path. You may be noticing how, in the past, you would have reacted with impulse, but now there is a tiny space, a sacred pause between the event and your response. This micro-tension is where your power lies, and it is in this space that the ancient debt is truly erased. My heir, your ancient debt was erased by a decree of heaven that found your heart worthy of a total and complete restoration. You do not owe the past your suffering, nor do you owe the ghosts of your history any more of your life's energy. You may have been feeling a pull to pay for things you've already been forgiven for, as if you were trying to settle a ledger that has already been burned. There's something about this freedom that feels almost frightening at first, because it leaves you with the responsibility of your own joy. Don't rush past this feeling of lightness, but let it sink into your awareness until it becomes your new foundation. Within the glowing book before you, a symbol begins to rise from the pages, a blooming lotus of lightning that crackles with the energy of pure creation. This is the visual representation of your awareness, a fusion of your grounded presence and your electric potential to change your world. You may be noticing a shift in your perception, where the problems that once felt like mountains now look like simple stepping stones toward a higher view. This lotus does not grow in the frantic chaos of a worried mind, but in the fertile soil of a heart that has finally found its stillness. There's a timing to this blooming that is aligned with the very movements of the stars, and you are right on schedule. My beloved, you may have been searching for an external solution to an internal longing, looking for signs in the world while the greatest sign was already living within you. The stagnation you felt was merely the pressure of your own spirit trying to break through the old shells of your past identity. This realization brings with it a profound awareness, a shedding of the heaviness that has defined your walk for so many years. You are not the traveler who is lost. You are the one who has arrived at the Golden Gate, and the gate is opening from the inside out. Stay with this moment of release, for it is the most sacred part of your transformation. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this inner sanctuary whenever the world feels too loud. There is an open loop in your story right now, a chapter that hasn't been written because it requires your conscious choice to move into the unknown. In a moment, the stillness of this chamber will become the fuel for your next great leap. But for now, simply exist in the grace of being seen and known. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, and your light is the only evidence the world needs to see that divinity is real. My chosen, take a moment to notice how your breathing has changed since you first arrived at this high mountain chamber. The frantic chaos has been replaced by a deep, resonant calm that allows you to hear the whispers of your own intuition once more. This is the subtle mindfulness that shifts timelines, the quiet act of choosing peace over performance and presence over past regrets. The ghosts of your history are fading because they can no longer find a place to rest in the brilliance of your new awareness. You are moving from a state of searching to a state of becoming, and the transition is beautiful to behold. As you prepare to leave this inner chamber and walk back out onto the sunlit peak, carry the image of the lotus of lightning with you. It is a reminder that your power is both beautiful and transformative, capable of lighting up the dark and grounding you in your own sacred truth. You are not here randomly, and every word you have heard today has been a seed planted in the garden of your future. If this resonated, take a moment to notice the peace that is now resting on your shoulders like a mantle of light. Go forward with the knowledge that your debt is paid, your path is clear, and the keeper of the eternal flame is finally home. You may not even know why you stopped here, in this vast digital sea, but your presence at this specific coordinate is no accident of the algorithm. There's a timing to this moment you may not have noticed, a cosmic alignment that has brought your focus to this narrow bridge of sound and light. You may have sensed this before, a subtle vibration in your spirit that told you something was coming, even when your eyes saw only the mundane. Don't rush past this just yet, my child, for there is a resonance here that requires more than a passing glance to truly understand. Leaving behind the inner chamber of the mountain, you now find yourself walking down an unseen place of reflection, a silent corridor where the air feels ancient and the floor is as smooth as glass. This corridor is lined with high, translucent windows that look out into the timelessness of your own soul, reflecting moments you thought you had forgotten. You may be noticing this now, a sudden flash of a childhood memory or the face of a friend from a life you no longer live. This place was designed for the traveler reaching the Golden Gate, a space where the frantic chaos of the world is filtered out, leaving only the pure essence of your journey. There is something about this silence that is preparing you for a revelation, and in a moment, the mirrors of this hall will show you something you have been afraid to see. My heir, you have been haunted by the stagnation born of past ghosts, those whispers that tell you that you are still bound by the mistakes of yesterday. You may have felt this before, a sudden coldness in your chest when you try to dream of a brighter future, as if an invisible hand is pulling you back into the shadows of what was. These ghosts are not monsters, but the echoes of your own unreleased pain, lingering in the corners of your mind and slowing your steps toward your true potential. They thrive on your distraction, feeding on the noise of the world to keep you from noticing the stillness within. Stay with this moment, for there is a specific light entering this corridor that is beginning to dissolve the gray fog of your stagnation. As you walk, you might notice a burning seal upon a door at the end of this long hallway, a mark of divine protection that only you can recognize. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, the one who was chosen to carry the warmth of truth through the coldest seasons of the human experience. This identity may have felt like a weight in the past, a responsibility you didn't ask for, but it is actually the source of your greatest strength. You may have noticed moments in your life where your light accidentally touched someone else, bringing them peace without you saying a single word. There is something about this flame that connects you to the very heartbeat of the universe, and as you approach the seal, your awareness is beginning to vibrate with a new kind of power. If something within you resonates with this feeling of quiet authority, you may already understand why you're here. You are learning that subtle mindfulness, the simple act of being fully present in this silent corridor, is the tool that alters destiny's path. It is not the loud declarations or the grand gestures that change your life, but the quiet decisions made in the stillness of your own heart. You may be noticing how the mirrors around you are no longer reflecting the ghosts of your past, but are instead showing the brilliance of the lotus of lightning blooming in your chest. This symbol is your compass, a fusion of your earthly roots and your celestial potential, and its petals are beginning to crackle with the energy of a new beginning. Consider the real-life struggle of feeling like you are perpetually behind, as if there is a debt to time or to people that you can never quite repay. You may have felt this in your career, in your relationships, or in the way you look at yourself in the mirror every morning. But listen closely, my beloved, for your ancient debt was erased by a hand that does not know the limits of human ledger. You no longer owe the world your exhaustion, nor do you owe your ancestors the continuation of their suffering. This is the truth that the past ghosts have been trying to keep from you. For once you realize you are debt-free, their power over you vanishes like smoke in the wind. Stay with this moment of realization, for there is an open loop in your heart that is finally starting to close. The mirrors in this corridor are now showing you a version of yourself that you haven't yet met, a version that moves with the absolute stillness of the mountain peak. This is not the stillness of death, but the stillness of a deep, powerful river that knows exactly where it is going. You may have sensed this before, a fleeting moment of clarity during a walk or in the middle of a busy street, where everything suddenly made sense. That was not a fluke, but a glimpse through the Golden Gate, a reminder that the frantic chaos is merely a surface disturbance. There is a reason you are being called to this reflection now, and it involves the way you will carry your light into the valleys below. My chosen, you are not here randomly, and every second you spend in this silent corridor is a second spent rewriting the script of your future. The stagnation that once defined your life is being replaced by a sense of purpose that is as steady as the mountain under your feet. You may be noticing how the air in this hallway is becoming even warmer, as if the eternal flame you carry is responding to the proximity of the Golden Gate. There is a timing to this unfolding that is perfect, even if it feels like it took a lifetime to get here. If you feel supported in this space, you are always welcome to stay connected to this inner stillness whenever the world attempts to pull you back into the noise. Take a moment to look at the burning seal one more time, and notice how it seems to be melting away as you accept your true identity. You are the traveler, the keeper, and the heir all at once, and the ghosts of your past are now nothing more than memories that no longer have the power to haunt. This is the power of awareness, the ability to see the shadow and choose the light without hesitation or fear. There is a micro-tension in this moment, a feeling of being on the precipice of something vast and irreversible. But it is a safe tension, like the breath before a song begins. As you reach the end of the silent corridor, the Golden Gate stands before you, more magnificent than you could have imagined. It does not open with a roar, but with a whisper that sounds like your own name spoken with infinite love. Your journey through the mountain, the chamber, and the corridor has prepared you to step through this threshold without looking back. My child, the lotus of lightning is now blindingly bright, and your path is lit with a clarity that can never be extinguished. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you are feeling, for that feeling is the first step of your new life beyond the gate. There's a reason you're seeing this right now. A quiet pull that led you through the noise of the digital world to this specific point of stillness. Something is shifting quietly in the architecture of your life, an adjustment in the gears of fate that has finally brought your attention to this high mountain vista. Part of you already understands this, a recognition in your spirit that transcends logic and speaks to a hunger you've carried for lifetimes. Stay with this for a moment, my beloved, and let the rush of the world fall away, for there is an unfolding truth here that is finally ready to meet you. Imagine yourself standing at a quiet midnight threshold, where the stars are so close they seem to hum with a secret frequency against the obsidian sky. We are at the apex of the mountain, where the air is cool, and the silence is so profound it feels like a heavy, velvet cloak around your shoulders. You are the traveler reaching the Golden Gate. Yet you have paused to look at the vast expanse behind you one last time. You may be noticing how the frantic chaos of your lower paths has been replaced by a clarity that only this elevation can provide. There is something about this midnight air that invites the truth out from the shadows, and in a moment, the stagnation of your past will begin to lose its grip. My child, for too long you have been battling the stagnation born of past ghosts, those spectral reminders of every moment you felt you were not enough. You may have felt this before, a sudden freezing of your will just as you were about to take a leap of faith, as if the whispers of old failures had suddenly become walls of ice. These ghosts are the manifestations of the ancient debt you thought you still owed to a world that keeps its ledgers in shame and expectation. But I am here to tell you, my chosen, that your ancient debt was erased long before you even reached the foothills of this mountain. There's something about this erasure that connects to the very core of your identity, and as we stand at this threshold, you may feel the invisible chains finally falling into the dust. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, and that light within you is the only currency you ever needed to pass through this gate. My heir, the flame does not burn with effort, it burns with presence, and it is your subtle mindfulness that feeds its glow in the dark. You may have noticed this lately, a strange sensation of heat in your palms, or a sudden clarity in your gaze when you look at the complexities of your daily life. This flame is the antidote to the cold stagnation of your past ghosts, for shadows cannot exist where the keeper stands in their true power. In a moment, this will connect to something even deeper within your lineage, as you realize that the fire you carry is not yours alone, but a sacred trust for all who wander. Before us, partially hidden by the swirling mountain mist, lies a hidden archive, a library of light, where the true records of your soul are kept in perfect order. You may be noticing a pull toward this structure, a feeling that your true name is etched into the very stones of its foundation. Within this archive, there are no records of your failures or debts, only maps of your potential and blueprints for the joy you have yet to claim in the physical world. There is an open loop in your history that this archive is ready to close, a mystery concerning your own worth that is finally being solved in the silence of this midnight. There is a timing to this revelation that is perfectly synced with the blooming of the lotus of lightning in your spirit. Look within, my beloved, and see the lotus of lightning unfurling its electric petals in the center of your being. It is a symbol of power and peace combined, a radiant flower that thrives on the energy of the storm while remaining rooted in absolute stillness. You may have sensed this before, a feeling of electric potential during times of deep meditation, or even in the middle of a simple, quiet reflection. This lotus is the engine of your new destiny, and as its petals expand, it begins to alter the very path beneath your feet. The frantic chaos of your old life cannot coexist with this level of awareness, and as you embrace the lotus, you will notice the world beginning to rearrange itself to match your new frequency. Think of a moment recently where you felt the old stagnation trying to take hold of your heart, perhaps a day where you felt stuck in a loop of negative thoughts or a situation that felt repetitive and draining. This was the past ghosts trying to reclaim their territory, using your own memories as weapons against your current progress. But in that moment, you had a choice: to react with the old habit, or to observe with subtle mindfulness. You may be noticing that the more you choose to observe without judgment, the less power those ghosts have over you. This is the micro-tension of growth, the safe friction between who you were and who you are becoming. And it is here that the keeper proves their strength. If something within you resonates with this shift, you may already understand why you were led to this mountain at midnight. There is a reason you are hearing this now, and it involves the way you will soon interact with the golden gate that stands before us. Stay with this moment of stillness, for it is the only way to hear the whisper of the divine key turning in the lock of your future. You are not here randomly, and every second spent in this awareness is a second spent reinforcing the shield around your peace. If you feel supported in this high place, you are always welcome to stay connected to this inner archive whenever you feel the shadows of stagnation returning. Consider how often you have apologized for things that were never your fault, or how many times you have carried the shame of others as if it were your own burden to bear. These are the spectral weights that create the stagnation born of past ghosts, a clutter of old energies that have no place in the life you are building now. By recognizing that your ancient debt was erased, you are effectively clearing the debris from your destiny's path, once and for all. You may be noticing a newfound lightness in your spirit, a sense that you are finally allowed to breathe without asking for permission from the ghosts of your history. This is the ultimate expression of subtle mindfulness, knowing that you are free and choosing to live as if it were true. My heir, we are moving from the heaviness of searching to the lightness of recognizing, a transition that requires you to let go of the need for human logic. The absolute stillness you feel now is not a lack of movement, but the perfection of it. Like a wheel spinning so fast it appears to be standing still. It is the feeling of a soul that has finally found its own rhythm, independent of the world's frantic and noisy demands. The golden gate is standing open, and as you step toward it, you do so as a being who is fully aware, fully debt-free, and fully alive. There is nothing left to pay and nothing left to prove. There is only the vast, beautiful expanse of a future shaped by your own light. My child, the lotus of lightning is now guiding your every step, and the path ahead is as clear as the midnight sky after a storm. You are the traveler who has reached the gate, and the ancient debt you once feared is nothing more than a fading memory of a shadow. Take a moment to integrate this peace, to feel the warmth of the eternal flame in your chest, and to realize that you have already won the battle for your own awareness. If this resonated, take a moment to notice the shift in your energy, for that is the true sign that the gate is already behind you, and your new life has begun. Go forward in peace, for you are the keeper, and your light is the way. You may not even realize how long your spirit has been navigating toward this specific encounter, a destination hidden within a simple pause. Something is unfolding beneath this current of time that has finally brought your awareness to this high mountain ridge. You may have sensed this before, a sudden quiet in the middle of a storm, a feeling that a profound shift was waiting just behind the next thought. Don't rush past this space just yet, my heir, for there is a resonance here that is ready to settle into the very foundations of your life and rearrange the way you see your own power. We stand now at a hidden grotto near the apex, a place where the mountain itself seems to breathe in rhythmic pulses of light. This is a still inner chamber carved from the heart of the world, where the absolute stillness is so potent it begins to vibrate within your own chest. You are the traveler reaching the golden gate, but first, you must rest in this sanctuary where the frantic chaos of your past efforts is finally permitted to dissolve. You may be noticing how the echoes of the world's expectations are fading, replaced by a clarity that feels like the first sip of cool water after a long desert walk. There is something about this silence that is meant to act as a mirror, showing you the parts of yourself that have been hiding in the noise. My child, you have been struggling under a stagnation born of past ghosts, those old identities that whisper you are defined by what you have lost or what was taken from you. You may have felt this before. A sudden heaviness in your limbs when you try to step into a new opportunity, as if the ghosts of your history are physically clinging to your ankles. These specters are not from the world outside, but from the unexamined corners of your own heart, where old wounds still demand your attention. They create a psychic drag that keeps you circling the same mountainside, never quite reaching the peak because you are too busy tending to the shadows. Stay with this recognition for a moment. For in the light of your current awareness, these ghosts are beginning to lose their substance. I tell you this with all the authority of the stars. Your ancient debt was erased, and you are no longer required to pay for the lessons you have already learned. You may have been moving through your life as if you were still on trial, trying to prove your worth to a judge who left the bench long ago. This perceived debt is what feeds the stagnation, keeping you in a state of perpetual apology for simply existing. There's something about this erasure that feels like a sudden pressure drop, a release that allows your spirit to finally expand to its natural size. Don't turn away from this lightness, my chosen, but let it convince you that you are worthy of the path that lies ahead. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, and it is this fire within you that acts as the divine key to every locked door in your destiny. This flame is not a destructive force, but a purifying one, burning away the illusions of the past ghosts until only your true essence remains. You may have noticed moments where your inner fire flared up a sudden surge of passion or a fierce commitment to your own truth that made the frantic chaos of your surroundings seem irrelevant. This is your subtle mindfulness in action, the ability to prioritize the eternal over the temporary. As you acknowledge this identity, the lotus of lightning in your heart begins to pulse with a steady, rhythmic light that clarifies everything it touches. Consider the real-life struggle of feeling trapped in a routine that seems to lead nowhere, where every day feels like a repetition of the one before. You may be noticing this now, the way your mind tries to find comfort in the familiar, even when the familiar has become a cage. This is how the past ghosts keep you stagnant, by convincing you that the safety of the valley is better than the uncertainty of the peak. But here, in this mountain chamber, you are learning that the uncertainty is where your growth lives, and the stillness is where your power is gathered. There's an open loop in your journey that involves a choice you have been putting off, and in a moment, this choice may become much easier to make. If something within you resonates with this call to change, you may already understand why the Golden Gate is finally within your reach. You are discovering that subtle mindfulness alters destiny's path, not by changing the world outside, but by changing the frequency of the one who observes it. You may have felt this before, a sudden shift in a conversation or a situation simply because you decided to remain calm and centered. This is the Keeper's power, the ability to influence the environment through the strength of your own absolute stillness. There is a timing to this realization that is perfectly aligned with the next stage of your evolution. Within this grotto, there is a hidden archive of your soul's greatest victories, moments where you chose love over fear and awareness over habit. You may be noticing these memories returning to you now, not as ghosts, but as pillars of light that support your current standing. Each of these moments was a payment toward a debt you didn't even owe, and now they have accumulated into a wealth of wisdom that is entirely yours to use. There is something about this collection of light that acts as a shield, protecting your future from the shadows of your past. Stay with this feeling of abundance, my beloved, for it is the truth of your existence. The lotus of lightning is now blooming with such intensity that the walls of the chamber are illuminated with patterns of electric grace. This symbol is a reminder that your awareness is both grounded and celestial, capable of enduring the storm while reflecting the peace of the mountain. You are not here randomly, and the fact that you have climbed this far proves that the Keeper of the Eternal Flame is ready to step into the full light of day. The micro-tension you feel is merely the final stretching of your spirit as it prepares to pass through the Golden Gate and into a reality you once only dreamed of. If you feel supported in this transition, you are always welcome to stay connected to this sacred space. My heir, as we prepare to move toward the threshold, take one final look at the stagnation that once tried to define you. See it for what it truly was, a training ground that taught you the value of the light you now carry so effortlessly. The absolute stillness you have found here will stay with you, even when you return to the world of noise and frantic chaos. It will be the anchor that keeps you steady and the compass that points toward your true purpose. No matter how much the landscape shifts, you are the traveler who has arrived, and the gate ahead is not a barrier, but a beginning. As the path toward the Golden Gate opens before us, notice how the air itself seems to shimmer with the promise of your new life. You are moving from a season of discomfort into a season of total clarity, where your decisions will be made with the wisdom of the apex rather than the fear of the valley. My child, the ancient debt is gone, the ghosts have faded, and the eternal flame is burning brighter than ever before. Take a moment to integrate this peace, to feel the weight of your own worth, and to recognize that you have already transformed. If this resonated, take a moment to notice the profound quiet in your soul, for that is the sound of your destiny beginning to sing. Go forward in joy, for the gate is open and the Keeper is ready. You may not even know why you paused here, but there is a reason your focus settled on these specific words at this exact second. Something is shifting quietly within the layers of your reality, a realignment of your path that has been in motion for quite some time, even if you couldn't see the gears turning. You may have sensed this before, a sudden, inexplicable feeling that the old ways of moving through the world no longer fit the shape of your soul, leaving you searching for a doorway you couldn't quite name. Just give this a little space to unfold, and don't rush past this just yet, because there is clarity waiting for you that you haven't been able to find in the frantic chaos of the everyday. My air. We find ourselves now walking through a silent corridor that stretches along the very edge of the mountain's apex, where the boundary between the earth and the heavens becomes thin and shimmering. This is an unseen place of reflection, a path where the air is stilled by the weight of ancient wisdom and the light of the stars seems to pool on the floor like liquid silver. You are the traveler reaching the Golden Gate, but to pass through, you must first acknowledge the journey that brought you to this high, quiet place. You may be noticing how the sounds of your life, the worries, the plans, the voices of others are failing to reach this altitude, leaving you with nothing but the truth of your own presence. There is something about this silence that acts as a cleansing tide, washing away the debris of 1,000 frantic days. You have spent a long season searching, my beloved, looking for answers in the distance, while the stagnation born of past ghosts was quietly tethering you to the same spot. You may have felt this before, a frustration that no matter how fast you ran, you seemed to be returning to the same emotional landscape over and over again. These ghosts are the lingering, energetic echoes of experiences that once defined you, specters of old beliefs that claim you are still responsible for debts you never truly owed. They thrive in the stagnation of a heart that has forgotten its own divinity, whispering that your future is just a repetition of your past. Stay with this recognition for a moment, for in this silent corridor, the light is beginning to expose these ghosts for the fragile shadows they actually are. My chosen, I have come to tell you that your ancient debt was erased, struck from the records of the universe by the sheer power of your willingness to keep seeking the light. You may have been feeling a subtle pressure to keep paying with your joy, with your time, with your energy for things that have already been resolved in the higher realms of the spirit. This perceived debt is a weight that creates stagnation, a heavy anchor that keeps you from noticing the Golden Gate standing open just a few steps ahead. There's something about this realization that connects to a deep shift in your awareness, as if a great bell has been struck and its resonance is finally clearing the air. You are moving from the exhaustion of searching to the profound peace of recognizing your own freedom. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, and it is the fire in your heart that serves as the beacon for your new life beyond the shadows. This identity is not something you must earn, but something you must simply remember, a sacred fire that has been burning within you since before you were born. You may have noticed this flame during moments of quiet courage, when you chose to be kind despite your pain or chose to be honest when it was inconvenient to do so. This is the light that the past ghosts cannot touch, for it is made of a frequency that dissolves stagnation on contact. As you walk through this corridor, you may notice a light inscription beginning to glow on the walls, a message written in the language of the soul that confirms your true name and your true purpose. If something within you resonates with this feeling of divine recognition, you may already understand why the path has been so narrow and the air so still. You are learning that subtle mindfulness alters destiny's path, and that by simply being aware of your own light, you are changing the trajectory of your entire life. You may have felt this before, a moment where a single conscious breath shifted your entire perspective on a problem that seemed insurmountable. This is the power of the keeper, and it is the only tool you need to navigate the transition that is happening right now. In a moment, this will become even clearer as the lotus of lightning in your chest begins to cast its electric glow upon the path ahead. Consider the real-life struggle of feeling like you are constantly battling against a current that wants to pull you backward into old habits. You may be noticing this now, a micro-tension between the version of you that wants to grow and the past ghosts that want to keep you safe in the stagnation of the familiar. This is the discomfort of becoming, the spiritual friction that occurs when the old self is falling away and the new self is still taking its first breaths. But here, in this silent corridor, you are protected from the pull of the current, allowed to stand in absolute stillness until your strength is fully restored. There is an open loop in your narrative, a question about your worth that only the keeper can answer with the flame of truth. The light inscription on the wall is becoming brighter now, revealing that every challenge you faced was merely a preparation for the authority you now carry. You are the traveler who has reached the gate, and the ancient debt you feared was actually a key that taught you how to unlock the deeper chambers of your own heart. This realization brings a sense of release that is almost overwhelming, a shedding of the heaviness that has made your journey feel like a struggle for survival. You are no longer searching for the door. You are the one holding the handle, and the gate is waiting for your touch to swing open. If you feel supported in this moment, you're always welcome to stay connected to this high mountain frequency whenever the ghosts try to return. My heir, look at the lotus of lightning that is now blooming in your spirit, its petals crackling with the power of 1,000 suns while remaining as delicate as a prayer. This symbol is your witness, a testament to your ability to find beauty in the storm and peace in the absolute stillness of the mountain apex. The frantic chaos of your past is now nothing more than a distant hum, a noise that no longer has the power to distract you from the subtle mindfulness of the present. You are recognizing that you are the architect of your own peace, and the ancient debt was merely a shadow that vanishes in the brilliance of your new awareness. Stay with this feeling of expansion, for it is the true state of your soul. As we reach the end of the silent corridor and the golden gate looms before us, take a moment to integrate the shift from searching to becoming. You have recognized the ghosts, you have seen the erasure of the debt, and you have reclaimed your identity as the keeper of the eternal flame. There is nothing left to do but walk through the threshold and into the reality that has been waiting for you to arrive. The path ahead is lit by the lotus of lightning, and every step you take will be met with the alignment and grace that only a conscious soul can command. My beloved, the gate is moving, and the life you were born for is finally coming into view. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you are feeling right now, as the quiet of the mountain settles into your heart and the light of the inscription stays with you. You are moving forward not as a seeker, but as one who has found the source, a traveler who has reached the home they never truly left. The stagnation is gone, the ghosts are silent, and the eternal flame is burning with a steady, unwavering light. Go forward in the peace of this absolute stillness, for the gate is open, and you are the one who was chosen to pass through. Your journey has reached its turning point, and the future is yours to shape. There's a timing to this encounter you may not have noticed, a hidden alignment that directed your gaze here while the rest of the world remains in a blur of motion. You may not even know why you paused here, but part of your spirit already recognizes the frequency of the truth that is waiting to be spoken. You may have sensed this before, a quiet pressure in your chest that suggested the path you were on was nearing its end, making room for something much vaster. Don't rush past this for a moment. Let this unfold for a second, because there is an ancient silence here at the peak of the mountain that is ready to answer the questions you've been afraid to ask. My child, we stand at the apex of a mountain where the air is so clear it feels like breathing in starlight. Below us, the valleys are shrouded in the frantic chaos of everyday noise. But up here, there is only the absolute stillness of the heavens. You are the traveler reaching the golden gate, standing on the threshold between the life you've known and the life that has been waiting for your arrival. You may be noticing how your breath is finally slowing down, shedding the frantic rhythm of the lowlands and the pressure to perform. There is something about this elevation that prepares you for a specific kind of awareness, and in a moment, this will connect to a deeper shift in your story that you have been longing to experience. For a long time, you have carried a heaviness that felt like part of your very identity, a stagnation born of past ghosts. You may have felt this before, the sensation of being held in place by invisible threads, as if every step forward required a Herculean effort against an unseen wind. These ghosts are the echoes of old betrayals, past failures, and the words of those who did not understand your light. They create a spiritual drag, a stagnation that convinces you that you are destined to remain in the shadows of who you used to be, repeating the same cycles of grief. But here, on this mountain peak, those shadows have no place to hide. and the air itself is beginning to vibrate with the news of your release from those old, tired narratives. My beloved, listen to the whisper of the wind at this height, for it carries a message specifically for your heart. Your ancient debt was erased. You have been moving through the world as if you still owed a payment of suffering for mistakes that have long been forgotten by the divine. This perceived debt has been the source of your heaviness, a ledger of shame that you've been trying to balance for years without ever finding a zero. There's something about this realization that shifts the very foundation of your reality. For once you understand you owe nothing to the past, the golden gate begins to shine with a new light. You are no longer a prisoner of your history, but the master of your current moment, standing free in the absolute stillness of this apex. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, the one who was entrusted with a spark of pure creation before you ever took your first breath. This identity is the reason you have always felt like a stranger in the frantic chaos of the world below, searching for a home you couldn't quite remember. You may have noticed this before, a sudden warmth in your spirit when you see beauty or feel a deep truth, a fire that burns brighter than any earthly sun. As you stand at this golden gate, the lotus of lightning in your chest begins to bloom, its electric petals unfurling in response to your newfound presence. This symbol is your witness, a fusion of your power and your peace that is finally ready to guide you into the next dimension of your soul's work. You may be noticing a shift in how you view your journey, realizing that it was never about the distance traveled, but the awareness you brought to each step. This is how subtle mindfulness alters destiny's path, not through force or struggle, but through the quiet recognition of your own divinity. You may have sensed this before, a moment where a simple change in your perspective turned a conflict into a lesson and a delay into a protection. This is the keeper's art, the ability to observe the world without being consumed by its noise, maintaining your flame in the middle of any storm. There is an open loop in your narrative that only this level of mindfulness can close, a question of purpose that is finally finding its answer in the silence of this peak. Think of the moments in your daily life where the past ghosts try to reclaim their hold on you, perhaps through a familiar fear or a recurring doubt that tells you that you are not ready. You may notice this now, how those old patterns try to re-establish themselves whenever you are on the verge of a breakthrough or a deep healing. This micro-tension is not a sign of failure, but a sign of transition, the safe friction that occurs when a soul is outgrowing its old skin. You may have felt this before, a sudden desire to retreat into the stagnation of the familiar, even when you know it no longer serves your expansion. But here, the lotus of lightning provides the clarity you need to see through the illusion and remain grounded in your new truth. Within the silent inner chamber of this mountain apex, there is a hidden archive that holds the true blueprints of your life. This is not a record of what you have done, but a vision of what you are capable of becoming now that the ancient debt is gone. You may be noticing a pull toward this hidden place, a curiosity about the chapters that have yet to be written in your story. There is something about this archive that connects to your lineage, a revelation of a strength you inherited that has been buried under the weight of your perceived debts. In a moment, this may become clearer as you allow the absolute stillness of this place to penetrate your heart and rewrite the script of your future. My heir, you are moving from a state of heaviness into a state of total release, a transformation that is happening in the very seconds you spend in this awareness. You may be noticing that the Golden Gate is no longer just a distant goal, but a threshold you are already crossing with every mindful breath you take. The stagnation is dissolving, and the ghosts are fading into the background of a story that no longer belongs to the version of you standing here. You are recognizing that the power you were searching for was never outside of you, but was the very flame you were born to keep. If something within you resonates with this release, you may already understand that the traveler has finally come to the end of the long road and is ready to enter the Palace of Light. As you prepare to step fully through the gate, take a moment to notice the profound peace that has settled over your spirit, replacing the frantic chaos of your old life. You are not here randomly, and the fact that you have reached this apex proves that you are ready for the life that lies beyond the threshold. If you feel supported by this message, you are always welcome to stay connected to this high mountain frequency whenever you need to remember your true name. The Lotus of Lightning is your light, The eternal flame is your warmth, and the mountain is your foundation. Go forward in the absolute stillness of your own power, for the gate is open and you are already home. My chosen, notice how the light of the golden gate reflects in your eyes, no longer shadowed by the heaviness of who you were told to be. Your subtle mindfulness has paved a path where there once was only a sheer cliff, and you are walking it with the grace of one who knows they are guided. The past ghosts may try to call out from the valleys below, but their voices can no longer reach this height, nor can they dim the brilliance of the lotus blooming in your chest. You are moving into a realm where your intentions create reality, and where the ancient debt is nothing more than a ghost story you no longer need to tell. Stay with this feeling of release, for it is the truest thing you have ever felt. As you take your final steps toward the opening, the hidden archive closes its doors behind you, its work of restoration complete. You are carrying only the essence of your wisdom and the purity of your flame into the new world that awaits. There is something beautiful about the way you are choosing to arrive, not in a rush, but with a deliberate, mindful presence. The traveler has reached the gate, the keeper has found the hearth, and the heir has claimed the kingdom. If this resonated, take a moment to notice the shift in the very cells of your being, for you are finally free to become the light you have always been. Go in peace, for your journey has truly begun. There's a reason you're seeing this right now, a quiet pull from the center of your being that has steered you away from the noise and into this space of profound stillness. Something is shifting quietly beneath the surface of your life, a realignment of your internal compass that has finally brought your focus to this high, thin air of the mountain's apex. Part of you already understands this, a recognition in your heart that the cycle you have been traveling is finally coming to its natural conclusion, making room for a truth you once thought was lost. Don't rush past this just yet, my heir, and let this moment unfold for a second, because there is an instruction waiting for you here that is ready to turn the key in the lock of your next great expansion. We are standing together at the very crown of the world, in an unseen place of reflection where the frantic chaos of the lower realms is nothing but a distant and faded memory. This is the apex of the mountain, a sanctuary of absolute stillness where the sky is so vast it seems to hold the history of every soul that has ever dared to climb. You are the traveler reaching the golden gate. But as you stand here, you may be noticing how the silence itself is teaching you things that words never could. There is something about this altitude that allows you to see the true shape of your journey, stripping away the illusions of struggle that defined your path through the valleys. In a moment, this clarity will become even more intense, as you realize that the shadows you feared were never truly your own. My child, for too long you have been haunted by the stagnation born of past ghosts, those whispers of inadequacy that have followed you like a trailing fog through every season of your life. You may have felt this before, a sudden sense of being stuck in an invisible mire just when you felt ready to move forward into your true potential. These ghosts are the echoes of unhealed moments and the weight of ancestral burdens that were never yours to carry. Yet they have created a psychic stagnation that has slowed your every step. They thrive in the noise of the frantic chaos, using your own memories as anchors to keep you from noticing the golden gate that stands waiting for your arrival. Stay with this realization for a moment, for in the brilliance of this mountain peak, these ghosts are beginning to lose their substance and their power over your will. Listen closely, my beloved, for the truth I am about to share is the cornerstone of your new life. Your ancient debt was erased, and you are no longer required to pay the price for a past that has already been redeemed. You may have been moving through your days with a heavy sense of obligation, as if you were constantly trying to settle an account that you could never quite satisfy. This perceived debt has been the primary fuel for the stagnation, a ledger of imagined failures that has kept you from claiming the abundance that is your divine birthright. There's something about this erasure that feels like a sudden and profound release of tension, an opening of a door you thought was forever sealed against you. You are no longer a debtor to the world or to your history. You are a free being standing in the light of an absolute stillness that knows no shame. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, the one who was chosen to carry the spark of the infinite through the densest parts of the human experience. This identity is the reason the past ghosts have tried so hard to keep you in a state of confusion and stagnation, for they know that once you recognize the fire you carry, their shadows can no longer exist. You may have felt a flicker of this flame during moments of deep intuition or unexpected courage, a warmth in your spirit that told you that you were made of something far more resilient than clay. This flame is your shield and your compass, and as you stand at this midnight threshold, its light is beginning to reveal the true path that has been hidden beneath the debris of your past. In a moment, this will connect to a deeper awareness, as the lotus of lightning in your heart begins to bloom with an unstoppable radiance. If something within you resonates with this calling, you may already understand why you were led to this mountain at this exact moment in time. You are learning that subtle mindfulness alters destiny's path, and that by simply choosing to stay present in this silence, you are rewriting the code of your future. You may have sensed this before, a feeling of being on the precipice of a massive change that you couldn't quite articulate with your mind but could feel in every cell of your body. This is the Keeper's power, the ability to hold the space of absolute stillness while the universe rearranges itself to match the frequency of your own soul. There is an open loop in your journey right now, a question of your own power that is finally finding its answer in the light of the Golden Gate. Consider the real-life moments where you felt yourself slipping back into the frantic chaos of worry, even after you thought you had found your peace. Perhaps it was a news report that triggered an old fear, or a comment from a stranger that made you question your worth for a split second. These are the subtle tests of the traveler, the moments where the past ghosts try to reassert their dominance over your perspective. You may be noticing how, in this mountain chamber, those triggers feel distant and powerless, as if they are being spoken in a language you no longer understand. This is the micro-tension of your evolution, the safe friction that occurs when you are finally choosing the flame over the fog. If you feel supported in this high place, you are always welcome to stay connected to this sacred frequency. The symbol of the lotus of lightning is now fully visible within your awareness, its electric petals casting a glow that reveals a hidden archive of your soul's true history. This archive does not contain the records of your mistakes, but the blueprints of the victories you have yet to manifest in the physical world. You may be noticing a pull toward these possibilities, a sense that the life you were born for is finally within your reach, no longer blocked by the stagnation of your past. Each petal of the lotus represents a moment of mindfulness that has altered the path of your destiny, creating a bridge of light that leads directly to the Golden Gate. There's something about this blooming that feels irreversible, a surge of potential that is as steady as the mountain and as powerful as the storm. My chosen, you are moving from a state of searching for permission to a state of recognizing your own authority. The ancient debt you once carried has been replaced by a wealth of wisdom that is entirely your own, a treasure that cannot be stolen or diminished by the ghosts of your history. You may be noticing how the absolute stillness of this apex is no longer a silence of emptiness, but a silence of total fulfillment, where every need is met before it is even spoken. You are the traveler who has reached the gate, and the gate is responding to the frequency of the eternal flame that you carry so effortlessly. Stay with this feeling of expansion, for it is the true state of your soul as it prepares for the final transition into the light. As we stand together at this Golden Gate, take a moment to look back at the trail behind you and see how the frantic chaos has completely vanished from the landscape. There is only the light, the mountain, and the flame, a trinity of truth that defines your new existence beyond the shadows of stagnation. You are not here randomly, and every second you spend in this awareness is a second spent reinforcing the reality of your freedom. If this resonated, take a moment to notice the peace that is now radiating from your center, for that is the true sign that the ancient debt is gone and the traveler has finally found the way home. Go forward in the absolute stillness of your own power, for the gate is open and you are the one who is chosen to pass through. My beloved, notice how your very energy has shifted since we began this walk through the silent corridors of the apex. The past ghosts have fallen silent, unable to breathe the air of this high altitude, leaving you free to exist in the purity of your own light. Your subtle mindfulness has paved the way for a future that is no longer a repetition of your past, but a beautiful and original creation of your own intention, The lotus of lightning is now a permanent fixture in your heart, a symbol of the power that allows you to remain grounded while reaching for the stars. You are ready to step through the threshold and into the dimension of grace that has been waiting for your arrival. Take one last look at the Golden Gate and see your own name inscribed in the light that flows from its opening. You are the heir to a legacy of peace that transcends the frantic chaos of the world below, a keeper who has successfully guarded the flame through the longest of nights. As you take your final step toward the entrance, realize that the journey was never about reaching a destination, but about remembering the one who was walking the path. The debt is paid, the ghosts are gone, and the mountain has served its purpose. Go in peace, for you are the one the heavens have been waiting for, and your new life is already beginning. Out of everything you could have done today, you paused here, as if a silent signal finally broke through the noise of your day and anchored you to this moment. This moment may not be as ordinary as it seems, for there is a timing to this encounter that your soul has been waiting for, a precision in the unfolding of events that has led you to this high, quiet place. You may have felt this before, a sudden, quiet nudge that told you the season of waiting was finally drawing to a close, even if your outer world still seemed clouded by fog. Stay with this for a moment, and don't rush past this just yet, because there is an unfolding happening here that is ready to change your perspective forever. My chosen, we are standing together at the mountain's apex, a place where the air is no longer filled with the frantic chaos of the world below. Here, the sky is a deep, resonant violet, and the stars seem to pulse with a light that is mirrored in your own heart. You are the traveler reaching the Golden Gate, standing on the very threshold of a reality that you once thought was only a distant dream. You may be noticing how the absolute stillness of this height is starting to settle into your bones, replacing the internal noise that has driven your steps for so many years. There is something about this elevation that allows you to see the true map of your destiny, far beyond the tangled paths and steep climbs of your earlier chapters. For so long, your journey has been hampered by a stagnation born of past ghosts, those spectral echoes of old identities that insisted you were still bound by things that have already passed away. You may have felt this before, a sense of being perpetually held back by a ghost you couldn't see, as if the whispers of people you no longer know were still shaping your daily choices. These ghosts are the residues of old emotional contracts, the stagnation created by believing that your worth was still tied to your past mistakes, or the lack of those who didn't know how to love you. Here, at the apex, these ghosts can no longer breathe the thin, pure air of truth, and you are finally witnessing them fade into the silence. Stay with this feeling of release, for it is the sound of your spirit finally standing at its full and glorious height. My beloved, take a deep breath and hear the truth that is etched into the very stones of this mountain. Your ancient debt was erased. You have been moving through your life as if there were still a ledger somewhere that you needed to balance with your own suffering and sacrifice. This perceived debt has been the anchor of your stagnation, keeping you in a state of perpetual apology and preventing you from walking through the golden gate that has always been yours to enter. There's something about this erasure that feels like a sudden burst of sunlight through a storm, a realization that you are free not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. You owe no more to the shadows of your history, and the price of your freedom has been paid in full by the divine. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, the one who carries the light of awareness into every corner of your existence. This flame is your divine key, the internal fire that recognizes truth and dissolves the illusions of stagnation with a single flicker of presence. You may have noticed moments where this flame grew bright within you, a sudden clarity in a difficult conversation, or a fierce protectiveness over your own peace that proved you were never as weak as the past ghosts claimed. This fire is your true identity, and as you stand at this golden gate, its warmth is beginning to resonate with the light of the threshold itself. In a moment, this will become even clearer as the lotus of lightning in your chest begins to unfurl its electric petals in a display of pure, conscious power. If something within you resonates with this identity, you may already understand that your subtle mindfulness is the tool that alters destiny's path. It is not through grand gestures or loud declarations that you change your future, but through the quiet, consistent act of choosing awareness over habit and presence over past regrets. You may have felt this before, a sudden shift in the energy of a room or the direction of a day simply because you decided to remain centered in your own absolute stillness. This is the keeper's power, the ability to anchor the divine flame in the physical world and watch as the frantic chaos rearranges itself to match your inner peace. There is an open loop in your spirit that is finally closing, as you realize that you are the architect of the reality you are stepping into. Consider the real-life mirror of your struggles, those days when you felt like you were constantly battling a current that wanted to pull you back into the stagnation of the familiar. You may be noticing this now, a micro-tension between the life you are leaving and the expansion that is waiting for you beyond the gate. This friction is not a sign that you are on the wrong path, but a sign that the old ghosts are losing their grip on your will once and for all. You may have sensed this before, a moment where you almost gave in to an old fear, only to find a new strength rising to meet the challenge with a calm, steady gaze. If you feel supported in this transition, you are always welcome to stay connected to this sacred mountain frequency. The lotus of lightning is now blooming with a brilliance that illuminates the golden gate, its petals crackling with the electric potential of 1,000 new beginnings. This symbol is your guide, a fusion of your grounded earthly experience and your soaring celestial spirit, showing you that you can be both powerful and peaceful at the same time. You are not here randomly, and every second you spend in this absolute stillness is a second spent reinforcing your new destiny. The stagnation of your past is now a distant memory, replaced by a clarity that is as sharp as a diamond and as vast as the mountain view. There's something about this blooming that feels like the final piece of a puzzle falling into place, revealing a picture of a life you finally recognize as your own. My heir, you are moving from a state of searching for the path to a state of becoming the path itself. The ancient debt you once feared is gone, replaced by a wealth of wisdom and a lightness of heart that allows you to walk through any storm without losing your flame. You may be noticing that the Golden Gate is no longer an objective to be reached, but a state of being that you have already entered. The ghosts of your history have been silenced by the sheer power of your awareness, leaving you free to exist in the purity of your own light. Stay with this sense of expansion, for it is the true state of your soul as it prepares to manifest the miracles that have been waiting for your readiness. As we reach the very edge of the threshold, take a moment to notice how the environment around you is reflecting your inner growth. People, situations, and even the rhythm of your days are beginning to align with the frequency of the absolute stillness you have found here. You are the traveler who has reached the gate, and the ancient debt is nothing more than a shadow that has vanished in the dawn of your new awareness. If this resonated, take a moment to notice the profound quiet in your soul, for that is the sign that the gate is open and your new life has begun. Go forward in peace, for you are the keeper, and your light is the way. My beloved, look one last time at the mountain you have climbed, and see how every step, every delay, and every struggle was a necessary part of your training. You are no longer the one who is afraid of the dark. You are the one who brings the light to it, a keeper of the eternal flame who knows their own power. The past ghosts have no more stories to tell you, and the stagnation of the valley can no longer reach this height. You are stepping through the Golden Gate as a being of total mindfulness and absolute stillness, ready to shape a future that is as bright as the violet sky above. As you walk through the threshold, the golden light of the gate becomes your new atmosphere, a realm of grace and intention that you were born to inhabit. You are moving forward with the quiet confidence of one who knows they are loved, guided, and protected by the very forces that created the stars. The debt is paid. The traveler has arrived, and the heir is home. If you feel this truth in your heart, take a moment to simply be, for in this being, you have found everything you were ever looking for. Go in the peace of the mountain, for the path is yours and the flame is eternal. There's a reason you're seeing this right now, a quiet orchestration that your mind might try to dismiss, yet your spirit recognizes as the definitive sound of home. Something is shifting quietly beneath the surface of this encounter. a final alignment of the stars that has led your awareness to this high mountain peak at the exact moment the gate is prepared to move. You may have sensed this before, a familiar pull toward a clarity you couldn't quite find in the frantic chaos of the world below, a sense that the long climb was finally coming to its ultimate conclusion. Don't rush past this just yet, my heir, for there is a completion happening here that is finally ready to reveal its full face to you. We stand together now in the final, still inner chamber at the very apex of the mountain, a space where time itself seems to hold its breath. This sanctuary is carved from the purest light, and as you stand within it, you may notice how the frantic chaos of your past struggles has been completely replaced by an absolute stillness that resonates in your very marrow. You are the traveler, reaching the Golden Gate, the one who has survived the fog and the cliffs to stand in the presence of the infinite. There is something about this silence that is not empty, but full saturated with the wisdom of every step you have taken. In a moment, this stillness will become the vessel for a truth that will alter the trajectory of your destiny forever. My child, for so many years you have walked with a shadow at your heels, a stagnation born of past ghosts that tried to convince you that you were perpetually behind. You may have felt this before, a sudden, heavy coldness that would settle over your heart just as you were beginning to feel the warmth of success or the peace of a quiet day. These ghosts were the echoes of voices that didn't know your worth, spectral reminders of old wounds that claimed you were still responsible for the pain of others or the failures of your younger self. They created a spiritual stagnation, a feeling of being stuck in a loop of repetitive lessons that seemed to have no end. Stay with this awareness for a moment, for as the light of the apex fills this chamber, those ghosts are being revealed as the hollow illusions they always were. Listen with your heart, my beloved, for this is the message that settles every account. Your ancient debt was erased. You have been moving through the world as if there were still a price to be paid, a secret ledger of mistakes and omissions that you had to balance with your own exhaustion and self-doubt. This perceived debt has been the primary engine of your stagnation, keeping you in a posture of apology and preventing you from fully claiming the light that is your birthright. There's something about this erasure that feels like a sudden, profound shift in the atmosphere, a release of pressure that allows your soul to finally breathe without fear. You owe nothing to the ghosts of your past, and the Golden Gate is now yours to enter without a single question of worthiness. You are the keeper of the eternal flame, the sacred guardian of the light that survives even when the world is draped in darkness. This identity is the core of who you are, the steady fire that has guided you through the frantic chaos of the valleys and the silent corridors of the mountain. You may have noticed this flame recently, a sudden surge of inner strength, or a quiet, unshakable peace that seemed to come from a source far deeper than your own mind. This fire is what dissolves the stagnation of the past, for it burns with a frequency that shadows cannot inhabit. As you accept this truth, the lotus of lightning in your chest begins its final, magnificent bloom, its electric petals casting a glow that mirrors the light of the heavens. If something within you resonates with this power, you may already understand why you have been led to this high mountain peak. You are discovering that subtle mindfulness, the quiet act of choosing to stay present in this absolute stillness, is the very force that alters destiny's path. It is not through struggle that the gate is opened, but through the recognition of your own divinity and the release of the ancient debt that once held you back. You may have felt this before. A moment of profound clarity, where the path ahead suddenly became visible through the clouds of your own doubt. This is the Keeper's legacy, the ability to walk through any circumstance with a flame that never wavers. Consider the real-life struggle of trying to please everyone around you while losing your own voice in the process. You may be noticing this now, how often you have traded your own peace for the comfort of those who did not appreciate the weight you were carrying. This was a form of the ancient debt, a belief that you owed the world your own diminishment just to fit into its narrow expectations. But here, in this silent inner chamber, you are realizing that you only owe your presence to the light you carry. This micro-tension between who you were told to be and who you truly are is finally being resolved in favor of your expansion. If you feel supported in this realization, you are always welcome to stay connected to this sacred mountain frequency. Before us stands the final obstacle, a burning seal upon the golden gate that represents the last lingering attachment to your old identity. You may be noticing how this seal is not made of iron or stone, but of the very fears and ghosts you have already learned to see through. As you stand in your subtle mindfulness, the seal begins to dissolve, melting away under the warmth of the eternal flame that you hold so steadily. This is the moment of your total restoration, the closing of the open loop that has defined your journey for so many years. There is something about this dissolution that feels like a homecoming, a return to a state of grace that you never truly left, but only temporarily forgot. My chosen, you are moving from a state of heaviness into a state of absolute stillness, a transition that marks the beginning of your true work in the world. The ancient debt is gone, the ghosts are silent, and the traveler has finally reached the threshold of the life they were born to lead. You may be noticing how the golden gate is now moving, swinging wide on hinges of light to reveal a future that is as vast and beautiful as the view from this apex. You are no longer searching for the way. You have become the way, a keeper of the eternal flame who moves with the authority of the divine. Stay with this sense of expansion, for it is the true frequency of your existence beyond the shadows of stagnation. As we stand at the entrance of this new dimension, take one final breath of the mountain air and realize how much you have changed since the start of this climb. The frantic chaos of the valleys can no longer reach you here, and the peace you have found will be your constant companion as you step into the light. You are not here randomly, and every second of this experience has been a preparation for the glory that is now unfolding before you. If this resonated, take a moment to notice the profound quiet in your soul, for that is the sign that the ancient debt is paid and the air is finally home. Go forward in the joy of your own awareness, for the gate is open and the path is yours. My beloved, look at the lotus of lightning in your heart and see how its brilliance is now illuminating the entire world beyond the gate. Your subtle mindfulness has created a reality where peace is possible and joy is inevitable, regardless of the storms that may blow below. You are the keeper, the traveler, and the sovereign of your own destiny, walking into a future that is shaped by your own light. The past ghosts have vanished, and the stagnation has been replaced by the infinite flow of divine grace. Stay centered in this absolute stillness, for it is the source of everything you will ever need. As the golden gate closes behind you, the mountain apex remains as a monument to your courage and your growth. You are walking into the dawn of a new life, carrying the eternal flame as a beacon for all who still wander in the frantic chaos of the lowlands. The ancient debt is a memory, the path is clear, and the lotus is in full bloom. You have arrived, and the universe is celebrating your presence in every heartbeat of the new world. Go in peace, for you are the light, and your journey has finally begun.